In 2000, there were a handful of innovators in school districts, universities, and state virtual schools that found there was no organization building capacity and bringing these thought leaders together, giving them a place to push the field of K-12 education and transform teaching and learning through online learning. INACOL was initially conceived as a collaboration among mostly state virtual schools. Today, we are the leading voice for the growing field of online and blended learning. We encompass a diverse universe of more than 3,800 members, including school districts, state education agencies, universities, private and public schools, researchers, education reformers, and providers. INACOL and our members are dedicated to an important student-centric mission to ensure all students have access to a world-class education and quality online learning opportunities that prepare them for a lifetime of success. To achieve this, we develop policy frameworks and provide an important voice on behalf of students and next-generation learning. We conduct research, publish quality standards, facilitate high-level discussions, and advocate for the best policies. Today's schools are failing our students by promoting a one-size-fits-all model of learning. Students progress through material simultaneously, whether they have truly mastered the skills or not. And instruction happens in a similar fashion for all, regardless of individual interests, learning styles, or ability. For the students who either struggle to keep up or find themselves racing ahead, there is not much that the system can do to accommodate. We advocate for a transformation in our educational system to online and blended learning models that are truly student-centered and competency-based. In these next-generation educational models, students work at their own level and pace, progressing to more challenging work whenever they demonstrate advanced levels of proficiency. Schooling in this type of system is organized around stage, not age, and the emphasis on competency means teachers and schools can maximize learning and success for every student every day. We think there are new models that can take advantage of the best teachers and better distribute highly effective teaching, finding the best online teachers to give student support wherever and whenever they need it. Unfortunately, while new technologies can offer a platform for different and more effective approaches, they can also be designed to merely mimic the one-size-fits-all model. A school that schedules students to spend a portion of each day in a computer lab but does not provide effective learning or coaching support is unlikely to see more than modest gains in achievement. Fulfilling the potential of a student-centric, competency-based system will require that the field of online and blended learning and the policy environment in which it operates evolve to demand instruction that is not simply different, but more effective than traditional approaches. As the leader of the field and its chief advocate, it is our job to ensure the field reaches this destination of more effective, transformed, student-centered, personalized, competency-based learning. The primary objective of INACOL is to ensure the growth of quality online educational opportunities for students so that they can succeed, and to develop the policy frameworks, best practices, research, and collaboration that will facilitate this growth. The field of online and blended learning is growing rapidly. In the year 2000, roughly 45,000 students took an online course. In 2011, nearly 4 million students enrolled in online programs. But there is great diversity among the quality of online and blended options available to students today, and unfortunately, a patchwork of out-of-date regulations and a marketplace that emphasizes cost over effectiveness. This is putting the full promise of high-quality online learning models in serious jeopardy. Our objective is to encourage the development of high-quality, effective programs and to ensure that policymakers and educators know how to choose the good models over bad ones. Only this way can we ensure that schools using online models see measurable success and students realize their full potential. Another objective is to guide policymakers so they may update educational policies to support these transformative learning models. We need to seriously reconsider policy. To transform our system will take a deep examination of policies that will need to be opened towards competency-based learning and lifted out of the tyranny of seat time for each student. New learning models require new innovation space and policies. They require new accountability and assessment models for individual student growth. What if the ESEA allowed for individual student growth models based on a student's movement along a learning trajectory and personalized learning plans for every student? We could roll up student data on each learning objective or unit, validate with modular assessments along the way, and allow no limits for how fast or how far a student could go. We could actually measure the amount of learning per minute and begin to think about productivity in student learning. The technology exists today to transform our educational models to make them highly personalized, self-paced, and competency-based. But the single biggest barrier to innovating education and creating successful learning opportunities for students is the patchwork of out-of-date federal, state, and local policies to which schools and school districts are accountable. With 50 states and 50 different sets of standards, one can imagine that this is a formidable challenge. That is why a chief strategic priority for INACOL is our ongoing effort to build policy frameworks that will help states break free of the rigid regulations that fund schools based on outdated concepts like seat time and focus on competency-based and personalized approaches to learning that are so vital to truly transforming K-12 education. Once these frameworks are completed, we will extensively advocate for these policies and build strong coalitions with allied education reform-minded organizations to promote our policy goals across multiple states. We will also engage at the federal level on Capitol Hill and in the agencies. We will leverage these policy changes and help bring to light the proof points, the new learning models, and student successes from innovative new online and blended learning programs. Each year, we are targeting 10 states for advocacy and ultimately end up working with policy leaders in 20 states annually. Moving the needle in targeted states opens access and builds upon the opportunities and new models available for students. Every year, we see the needle move significantly, leveraging policy and practice and building upon our network of a diverse group of innovative leaders. Our members are key leverage points for INACOL. Another key priority for INACOL is advocating for the highest quality in online learning, achievement that is outcome-based and measurable. We are working in partnership with experts in the field to establish quality assurance standards and reporting practices that use student outcomes as the best measure of effectiveness. Our Quality Assurance Initiative is a major focus for INACOL, and we are the only organization in online education with the reach into schools and political will for leading this charge. INACOL is also working on an ambitious research agenda to accelerate the development of innovative learning models that will help our students prepare for graduation, college, and beyond. Online and blended learning can be a great equalizer, providing education for all, and our members are the designers of the future of education for kids in the U.S. and worldwide. INACOL's reputation as a leader in the field of online learning is based on our depth of experience and the breadth of our membership. As CEO and president of INACOL, I bring decades of experience in education and K-12 online learning, including my prior experience as the director of the Office of Educational Technology at the U.S. Department of Education, reporting directly to the Secretary on educational technology programs, research and issues, and writing the 2004 National Education Technology Plan for Congress. I came to INACOL in 2005 because I believed that out of all of the technology programs in education, online learning was truly a Trojan horse for reform. It was fundamentally changing which students could access the best education through online courses and new learning models enabled by online and blended learning. It was the beginning of the field, and in the last several years, there have been tremendous growth, both in our organization and in the field of K-12 online and blended learning. At INACOL, we have a solid, expert, and uncompromising team of professionals with solid and diverse backgrounds in online education and policy, and we are guided by a highly dedicated board of directors with deep experience in the worlds of education, business, philanthropy, and government. The focus is student-centered with a deep sense of integrity to push the field toward high-quality, personalized learning for students. We are extraordinarily unique as a nonprofit membership organization in that our membership is comprised of 3,800 individuals and organizations from across the spectrum of online learning: teachers, administrators, schools and school districts, research organizations and universities, technology developers, and content providers. INACOL is also known as the source of an enormous amount of research and best practices. It is the host of the annual Virtual School Symposium, the largest event of its kind in the world, and the gathering spot for renowned educational experts in the field to exchange the latest research, trends, discuss best practices, and educate policymakers on the growth of online learning. We have 9 key metrics for success for INACOL. Number 1, increase the visibility and recognition of INACOL as the leading advocate of the promise of online and blended teaching and learning to transform education in the United States and abroad for all students. Number 2, promote increased adoption of quality online and blended learning programs in K-12 education. Number 3, enhance INACOL's reputation as a repository of expertise and the latest research findings in the areas of K-12 online learning, blended hybrid learning, and virtual schools, including the range of courses offered, the evaluation of course content, standards, best practices, administration, and certification. Number 4, support efforts to increase our membership base in educator, individual, institutional, associate, and corporate categories. Number 5, obtain grants and attract interest and support from funders for INACOL and its agenda. Number 6, provide networking, training, and professional development opportunities through the Virtual School Symposium Conference and further develop resources and tools for online professional development. Number 7, improve organizational efficacy. Review INACOL governance, management, operations, and bylaws based on best practices for a nonprofit membership association. Number 8, maintain and increase INACOL's cash flow positive status. Number 9, increase diversity in online learning leadership. We collect a range of data to measure our performance in these areas. INACOL's growth in visibility and involvement by specific requests to testify and work with state policymakers is just one example. We are contacted several times a week by leading reporters. We've been in stories ranging from the Wall Street Journal to the New York Times to the Associated Press, and are interviewed and published in leading news outlets regularly. Our staff provides more than 65 keynotes and presentations annually on the future of education and online and blended learning across the United States. We are also participating in key talks for the European Union and ministries of education for 7 Gulf Arab Emirate nations to expand access to education for girls in their societies. We run a highly effective organization with little staff turnover and incredibly dedicated professionals. A common misconception about online learning models is that these models replace the need for teachers. This is completely false. Teachers are the gold standard for quality in any educational setting, including online learning. High-quality online programs require highly trained, qualified teachers, whether for face-to-face instruction as part of blended learning models or online in full-time virtual programs. The most valuable and often the scarcest resource in education are great teachers. 40% of public high schools do not offer advanced placement courses, and more districts in America need online learning resources because certified teachers are not available for traditional face-to-face instruction. Online learning extends the reach of the best teachers across the state, particularly in rural areas where teachers are most scarce. Teachers given access to teach in online models with proper professional development and training soon find these online tools for personalizing instruction tremendously improve their jobs and their job satisfaction. Online learning gives teachers access to powerful data tools that help them more effectively track student progress and individualize learning for each student. Teachers are already supportive of online learning. A national representative survey found that 76% of respondents who identified themselves as public school teachers were favorable to the implementation of online learning by Harvard University. INACOL's membership includes teachers, and we actively work with educators to provide professional development, guidance, and best practices. We also worked with the NEA on a publication titled Guidelines for Quality Online Teaching. INACOL published the first national quality standards for online courses, online teaching, and online programs. INACOL's ability to provide important networking opportunities and push the field towards transformation is a tremendous asset. Some of the accomplishments we are most proud of are leading-edge publications on research and best practices that are guiding the field, in competency-based learning, on at-risk students in online learning environments, on how to start an online learning program, and on promising practices. We work collaboratively in partnership with teams of experts in online and blended learning, course development, instructional design, professional development, research, education, and administration. Our annual conference, the Virtual School Symposium, is known as the premier event for renowned educational experts in the field to exchange the latest research and trends, discuss best practices, and educate the media and policymakers on the growth of online learning. Since its founding, the conference has grown exponentially. In 2005, there were 480 attendees. INACOL recently published a book and a report highlighting international case studies for online learning. INACOL is widely considered a nonpartisan, credible advocate for education reform in state houses, on Capitol Hill, and within the Department of Education. We are also considered the go-to source on issues regarding online and blended learning, and we are frequently quoted in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Education Week, and other highly influential publications. But perhaps no metric speaks to the greater accomplishment than the growth in online learning both in the U.S. and abroad. Online education is the fastest innovation in education. Beginning in the mid-1990s with fewer than 50,000 students, it is estimated that today more than 4 million K-12 students in the United States are enrolled in online and blended learning courses. Internationally, the numbers are skyrocketing too. Online and blended learning are innovations that students can access in order to achieve a world-class education for many years to come. INACOL recently published a book and a report highlighting international case studies for online learning. While many governments around the globe support online learning, innovation is happening from the ground up, from classrooms and schools transformed one by one. Highlights include a number of findings. Almost 60% of the surveyed countries reported government funding for blended or online programs at the primary and secondary levels. China's first online school was created in 1996. Since then, it has expanded to more than 200 online schools with enrollments exceeding 600,000 students. 72% of the surveyed countries reported that their online and blended classroom teachers participated in professional development for online teaching. In British Columbia, Canada, online schools provide complete programs or individual courses to 71,000 students, which is about 12% of the student population. In 2010, Hong Kong enacted a policy recommendation for digital learning that debundled textbooks and teaching materials to make them more affordable and accessible to schools, and accelerated the development of an online depository of curriculum-based learning and teaching resources. A pilot scheme later resulted in programs made available to all 410,000 primary and secondary students in 300,000 low-income families, especially in the 8% without internet access at home, to gain access to the internet for the purposes of learning. There are enormous opportunities as a catalyst for transformation in K-12 education using online and blended learning, new models that are personalized and competency-based. There are also enormous risks in promoting access without dealing with the tough issues of quality control and the need for educating the public in the field. We believe the field may continue on its current path without improving access, readiness, or move toward high-quality programs if we do not address three key issues in a relatively short time frame. Number one, federal, state policy and advocacy. Number two, quality assurance. And number three, new learning models and business model innovation. Federal and state policy and a quality agenda are critical and need to be addressed to realize our vision of personalized, next-generation learning for all students. Because the field of online learning is still in its infancy, many critical stakeholders still lack basic levels of awareness and knowledge about its potential benefits and risks. There is a great need to increase collaboration and knowledge sharing across all efforts. INACOL has been effective with a staff of 5 and an all-hands-on-deck approach to our work, but we need to expand our team and build capacity within our organization if we are to truly succeed. We are seeking funding to build capacity over the next few years to accomplish our goals in policy advocacy, quality assurance, and new learning models. Communication is a huge part of all of these efforts, and a major campaign to build public understanding is needed. INACOL will focus on maximizing key opportunities for the field of K-12 education over the next few years. We believe we can leverage our position in the education sector with a diverse membership to get the buy-in for a quality initiative for outcomes-based models, to build advocacy through federal and multi-state initiatives, and to drive transformation for the overall field toward new learning models. We will continue to share existing knowledge and best practices within the field, particularly with educators who are exploring online and blended learning options. One goal is to build a public database of online and blended learning programs and courses. We would also expand our services to our members and the public, including publications and webinars for educators, administrators, district leaders, and policymakers. INACOL could provide a powerful teachers' and students' perspective on the need to transform education through online and blended learning. Little known, INACOL has 2,000 members that are teachers on the ground working in next-generation online and blended models. Teacher voices are missing in the new learning models work and education reform in general, and we would like to publicly develop that voice, especially the voices of teachers who want next-generation learning environments, improved working conditions, and an increased ability to serve a diverse group of students using personalized, student-centered models. There is a unique opportunity in leveraging the direct teacher voice and building a communications campaign around including and building the outreach and communicating the teacher's perspective on transformative new learning models. In addition, there is a huge need for professional opportunities for online and blended learning for administrators and teachers. There is a need for a leadership academy and building networks of leaders who can implement high-quality, personalized online and blended learning in their schools. The capacity in that field for human capital to carry out this work is too low, and INACOL could play an important role for the field in capacity building. District leaders and teachers must support the adoption of blended and online models and demand quality and effectiveness in the models they select or develop. This requires building their awareness and capacity by helping them to understand promising practices and the importance of quality assurance. In particular, in order for the field to reach its full potential to achieve better outcomes for students using applied online and blended learning technologies to provide next-generation learning, the role of the teacher is critical but not well understood. INACOL has an incredible resource in nearly 2,000 members who are teachers, educators already incorporating online and blended learning in their classrooms. We would like to focus our activities and build capacity to help support the development of increasing active online teacher members in the areas of advocacy, communications, and development of new learning models.